Back in the engine room. I was supposed to be working on the bonding system, but I've been getting water leaked, and I thought it was coming from here, but this is dry. This goes back to our bilge in the back, way in the back, and I had a leaky rudder post, and I kept tightening it, and this is dry, but I keep getting a leak, and I found this yesterday. So I guess my leak is, praise God, is not from the rudder posts, which I thought it was. It's coming from my water filter. So I'm going to try to take this off and put a new filter in and check the O-ring and see if I can find the leak. So I'm trying to put one of these pipe wrenches on it, and it's not going, so I'm going to try to loosen this connection here to let the water out, release the pressure. Maybe I can get this to turn. It's pretty rusty and corroded. I'm probably going to need a new one of these. We'll release the water pressure and see if I can't get this thing to turn. Okay, after turning off the water supply from the outside and then draining the water out, I got this thing to turn, so I can take this off and check the O-ring. Yeah, I'd say this is pretty dirty. I don't think it's supposed to be black. I think it's supposed to be white, and there's a lot of gunk floating in there. Check the O-ring. Yeah, that's pretty goopy. So one thing I noticed is this ring has this groove that's not equal. If you see that, I think I maybe didn't have it in straight. Yeah, I think I had this thing cockeyed in there, so who knows if it's even working. So I'm gonna get another one, see if there's any numbers on this. Well, one thing for sure is it was working, because look at the color difference. Well, as on a boat, one thing leads to another. So I put the new filter in, tightened it up, and it still leaked. So it's leaking from here down the side where those rust stains are. So I had to remove this fuel manifold to get to these 4 screws underneath. So I'm going to take those off, remove this, and see if I can't replace this filter housing. By the way, if you don't have one of these little buggers, you got to get one, because these screws are underneath here, underneath this housing, and there's no way you would get a screwdriver in there. So you can buy these at Lowe's or Home Depot. They're pretty awesome little ratchet sets. Goes without saying, with this out and those 2 hoses not connected, we don't have water. So I'm gonna see if I can't get this to stop leaking or find another one. If not, I gotta bypass this and connect those 2 hoses with something. Okay, I got the part off. It's leaking around that metal bracket. So what I'm hoping is, this is plastic, the metal's in between. The metal's corroded and rusted. If I can get the bracket off, get the plastic back into plastic, maybe I can keep using this until I can order another one, because we're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So see if I can't wrench that off. Okay, I was able to get a wrench on it, and it's turning. So we'll see if we can't find where that leak is. Got it out. All right, I got the fittings out. The threads look like they're okay, but somebody used silicone, and maybe the silicone broke down. I'm going to put some Teflon tape. I don't know if you're supposed to do that on these PVC. So I'm going to clean these up and put in some Teflon tape, and then skip the bracket. I'm just going to have the whole thing hang down, and I'll tie it off so it has some support, and then we'll get a new one of these. This thing's pretty old. to wipe the inside of these. Hit them with a hose, get all the big junk out, and that's what was inside of there. That's our drinking water. Well, it's not really our drinking water because we go through, this goes from our tank to the water pump, circulates throughout the boat for all your sinks, but we run our drinking water through the Berkey. Okay, replacing the silicone with Teflon tape. Put it back together and reinstall. Okay, here's the problem I foresee. This is not like a pipe thread where it compresses. It seems to screw all the way in, even with the tape on it. I thought it would bind up and stop like a pipe thread, but it seems to have screwed all the way in, and now it's orientated kind of at an angle like that. So I'm going to go down and fit it and see if it'll line up with the hose and if the filter will line up. All right, well, something didn't work here. Hold on a second. All right, this didn't work. I got a thick thing of Teflon on there. It's not tight. I think that's my problem, but I don't know if this piece is cracked, but water was squirting out of there. So I had an extra piece with an elbow. So this elbow is where this filter was. So I just bypassed the filter so we can have water. The water pump is turned on, it's pressurized, it's not leaking. So until I can find out if this piece is cracked and that's where it's leaking, or this is cracked. I didn't see any cracks in this. I think it might be this piece needs a new filter. So, but this will get us to New Bern, where we can have use of a car and get to our next spot. Probably didn't need to do this, but I bought a new filter. This thing is pretty beat up and kind of scuzzy. I kept getting a leak from this side. See all that rust here? So I didn't see any cracks or anything, but when I put it back together, I used Teflon tape and I still got a leak. So I'm trying a new one, and instead of Teflon, I used pipe dope. I got them screwed in. The thing I don't understand is these are polybutylene. They're old. They don't make it anymore because they are prone to crack and leak. But the boat's plumbed that way, so I can't redo the boat right now with something else. So I use the pipe dope instead of the tape. We're gonna go and put it back in and see if it works. But last time I tried that one, Michelle turned on the pump while I was down there and it started leaking. So I don't have video of that, but I'm gonna install this and see if this leaks. Okay, got to change of plans. Switching this to that. Shark bite with a pipe. This is the old polybutylene that fits. I tried it at the store, so I got that. And this for this side. And those two pieces cost almost as much as this. But that should do it. Believe it or not, it's still leaking. It's a very small drip. So I got to undo these shark bites. I'm going to do one more rotation. That one's leaking too. Maybe I didn't tighten them tight enough. I'm hoping that's it, but it's one small drip. That was a pain. Michelle's going to turn the pump on. Okay, so I don't know if I told you, the reason this strap is on here is because this thing didn't come with a bracket, and the other bracket was all rusted. I threw it away. So I got to make some kind of bracket for this to mount over here somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I really don't have room. Anyways, these shark bites are impossible to get off with a little plastic tool they give you. You need some kind of tool. So I got this on. It was leaking, so I had to do another turn on this and another turn on that. And I couldn't get the shark bite off. So I undid that connection over there. I held this one with a wrench and turned the whole unit for one rotation to get that another rotation tighter. Then I was able to turn that one there. Anyways, I got this working with screwed a nail in. I got this cord on there holding it up. It's pretty solid. It's not going to go anywhere, but I got to figure out a way to mount this and eventually get rid of this polybutylene.